Welcome to Talking Business. Now, our first discussion will be on Forex scarcity. I have with me Destiny Owobo, who is an economist and also a business analyst. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a very long time, of course.
So welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, now, Forex scarcity. Why are we having Forex scarcity in Nigeria? It's affecting the Naira. So there's this continued depreciation of the Naira, which isn't good for us. Why are we having Forex scarcity?
At the moment, I think it's just the volume of trade that's the problem. You know, the value of the currency is determined by the forces of demand and supply.
Okay.
So in the last week, the volume of trade has been very small compared to previous weeks. It was just about $27 million. And so when that happens, the overall value is affected. So it means that in the foreign exchange window, people are not buying enough. I mean, people are buying more than they are selling.
Okay.
And so quite naturally, the price will go up. Most of it is a little bit artificial. And especially this holiday too is also helping too. This holiday is also depressing it further. So we expect that it's going to be like that for some time. But the rate is only for the official rate. The black market rate has been a little bit stable compared to the official rate. So more of what we notice is artificial, is going to peter out as the economy bounces back.
But some persons are beginning to suspect that perhaps there is the problem of hoarding.
Yes.
Perhaps Forex is being hoarded.
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yes, it's possible. It's possible, but that's because the central bank is trying to harmonize the rates. And then when they've announced that by now we should have harmonized the rates. We have about 4 rates in this country. So we have the official exchange rate, we have the bureau de change, we have the NAFEX rate and others rates. So if anytime government makes an announcement and people anticipate that it's not going to be in their favor, they tend to act a certain way. So it's just speculators trying to play on the market, observe what is happening, anticipating the harmonization. Because when they harmonize, it means all the rates will collapse into one.
Okay.
And so people are trying to profit from that. They don't yet know what to make out of it. Should they keep their currency? Should they sell it or whatever? So I think when government decides to make a plan, decides to operationalize the plan, then the market will naturally go stable.
Okay, good. You said operationalize the plan because it was announced earlier this month or even late in June that there's been unification of the exchange rate.
Yes.
So one would have expected by now we should have a single rate operating.
Yes,
so it's not yet implemented.
Yes, it's not.
What's the delay? What's causing the delay?
I think I don't think.
Is it ideally? Should there be a delay once the policy is made, or is something that is a switch that could happen very quick?
It requires careful planning to unify the rates. It's easy to announce it.
Okay.
That part is easy, but there are many things that need to be put in place for it to work. You can announce it, but like I told you, the rates of exchange rate are determined by market forces mostly.
Okay.
The central bank comes sometimes to try to regulate, to ensure that it doesn't go beyond a certain band. But if you want to announce a unification of the rates, there needs to be some structures in place. It's like you're trying to fight against the market itself.
Okay.
And so you must put some things in place. It requires careful planning. You don't just jump into, it's not something government can just announce and then the whole world will rally around that rate. But there has to be some checks in the system to ensure that when you announce it and it goes into effect, people do not try to shortchange the system. That may be the reason for the delay.
Should the plans have come first before the official statement or the official announcement so that some persons don't get too smart, anticipating moves and then start engaging in practices that could sabotage the policy?
Yes. Quite naturally, what they ought to have done is to do their homework more and then make the announcements based on the information they have. But sometimes when you make an announcement like that, people act in that interest. I think the right thing to do is to have a steady plan, ensure that it's working, and then begin to announce. But it appears that when we make such announcements in this country, we don't really know the implication of, it's not only even the exchange rate, even in all the policies we make, we normally have these policies of sort. It looks as if all stakeholders are not consulted first before the decision is made. And then when we now make the decision and we now begin to see feeders, we now begin to find a way to look at it again. You know, I think it's just a general problem with Nigerian policy making.
Okay, before we wrap up on the Forex discussion, the difference or what you have at the official rate, what you have at the black market, bureau de change operators selling, it's like you have close to 100 naira difference.
Yes.
Why do we have that wide margin?
Yes, the wide margin exists because, like anytime you have any official rate, you know, the government sells at that official rate, but sometimes the market itself, the black market operates because it has more liquidity.
Okay.
It has more liquidity. If I write to the government that I want to buy foreign exchange, I have to write the reason I require the foreign exchange. It has to fall into certain band before they can accept it. So it takes a lot of time to process that. But if you go to the black market, those things are not heavily regulated. So people like to work on regulated sectors. So quite naturally, the two markets, that's why the black market rate is higher, because there's less risk, more risk associated with the black market than the official rate. It's higher, and people still go and buy there. So what that means is that they are trying to boycott the official rate because the official systems of checks is a little bit too rigid for most people. So the black market will always exist. It's the same thing with petrol. If you fix the price of petrol and it's not as readily available,
okay,
when people need it, the black market will be created automatically. So the black market comes from failure of the official rate to work seamlessly as it is designed. People want things done quickly. So the black market serves that market of people who want the job done quickly.
Now, in that sense, since most persons get Forex from the black market,
yes,
would the black market rate be considered as the real rate?
Okay, yes, the real rate is the one that reflects market demand, while the government rate is the regulated one. So the black market is a mirror of what is really happening in the market. What the government does is to fix the price so that the idea is that the black market rate should not be too far from the official rate, because if it is too far from the official rate, it will encourage us to call round tripping. People will go and buy official and sell in the black market. Round tripping.
Because so, even when the unifying rate, it seems like there's another form of round tripping going on.
Yes.
Because if I can't get Forex at the official rate, yes, then I go to the black market, yes, where I get it high, and that's another round tripping.
Yes. So that is very bad. So what most government try to do is to make sure even if the black market exists, it should not be too far from the official rate, to not encourage a quick money making round tripping. So even the people who work in the official sector can decide to sell in the black market too. So they buy officially and sell at the black market. If that happens, it therefore means that
you hardly have access to Forex at the official rate,
because you know there's some black job inside there. So the idea is to ensure that it will exist in every advanced country, any society. There's usually this black market rearing its head somewhere. But the idea is government should ensure that they are not too far from each other. That is why the CBN, sometimes they have to devalue the currency to make it reflect what we see in the black market. For example, if you hear that the black market rate is 600 naira and the official rate is 370, it's unrealistic.
Exactly.
Why would somebody go and buy something worth 600, at 600 naira when you can get it officially at 350? It means there's a problem. There's a problem. Nobody will do that. But when that happens, it means that government should look at the official rate itself. Is it realistic? Does it tell the value the people place on the currency itself? So the CBN has been doing that for some time. They've been following each other. But recently, I see just about 80 to 90 naira difference thereabout. And then
that's close to 100.
Close to 100.
You know, at one time, the CBN made it that the margin should be more than 3.
Yes.
But now we have close to 100. So isn't it time that a policy to check it is enforced?
Yes, that's the best.
As we get close to, this is the middle of the year. We're getting close to the last quarter of the year.
Yes.
When usually Forex goes up.
Yes, of course. And then the problem is, when we want to harmonize it, are we going closer to the official rate or to the black market rate?
Maybe somewhere in the middle will be fine.
Somewhere in the middle. So I think government must be working out that figure. At what is actually counterproductive to choose the lower rate, which is unrealistic, and sacrifice the upper rate. So there must be some range, somewhere in the middle, where it will be safe, where it will not be problematic for the country.
Okay. All right, if you just joined us, it's Talking Business, and we'll be looking at Forex Scarcity. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll look at quality management of made in Nigerian goods. Don't go away. Welcome back. Destiny Owobu, economist, business analyst, is still very much in the studio. Now, let's talk about made in Nigeria goods. There's always been advocacy for made in Nigeria goods to be patronized, but do you need to sell me something produced in my house before I know I have to buy it. What do you think is the worry or concern consumers have for made in Nigeria goods?
Quality and standards, quite naturally. If you ask the average man on the street, why don't you buy made in Nigerian goods? You say it's not good. It's not good. It doesn't match up to quality. That's the first worry. The consumer does not really care where a product comes from, actually, psychologically speaking. So they want to make sure it works. If something works, it works. It works, it's efficient, it's cheaper, simple. So anytime we are preaching made in Nigerian goods, we are trying to appeal to people's nationalism. And
it becomes a matter of sentiment.
A sentiment. And you see, in the world of business, sentiments normally die in the face of realities. So what the effort should be is, are Nigerian products competitive? That's the first question. Like, what is the relative price difference between Nigerian products and those from other countries? That's number one. Number two, what is the quality? What is the quality guarantee? That's number two. Number three, how much, we are looking at it from a national perspective, how much does it generate in terms of employment? How does it contribute to our economy? That one is a government consideration for everybody. But from the consumer angle, what the consumer wants is the commodity safe for use? Is it cheap? Is it of high quality? That is what is important. That explains why you do not preach made in Nigerian goods. You act it out. You make made in Nigerian goods good. Government has to come in, put policies in place to encourage people to produce at cheaper rates, produce quality goods. Business may have a way of interpreting quality. So competition allows quality to thrive. But the problem we've always had is this. Most countries have established systems of producing goods. Some countries have over 300 years history in production of certain goods. So they've developed what we call competitive advantage, comparative advantage. For example, the Italians have over a 700-year-old history in shoemaking and clothes.
Quality leather.
So they've developed a lot of competencies around leather, and you cannot ignore that. Now, if you allow such a country to compete with a country that has just a short history and have not developed capacities, technologies, and things like that, there'll be a problem. There'll be a problem. So it becomes a matter of national security. Because if you allow those countries to flood your markets with their products which are cheaper, and then you can't stop people from buying cheaper. People are naturally inclined towards cheaper things.
Everybody wants to save some money.
Everybody wants to save some money. You can't blame people for wanting to save some money. If you allow that to happen without trying to regulate the flow of these foreign products, then you will not be able to develop local competencies. And if you cannot develop local competencies, you may be benefiting in the short run. In the long run, you harm everybody. Because for every shoe a Nigerian buys, he's exporting the job to another country, if you buy it from another country. In economics, we have what we call linkage effects. The idea is that your sector should link. The secondary sector should patronize the primary sector. Then the tertiary sector should patronize the secondary sector. There should be this linkage. The money should flow front and back. But if people are working in Nigeria, like I like to explain it sometimes, if you have a tire and you have a tube system, and then you run water through the system, if there's no hole in the tube system,
it stays in.
As long as you keep turning it around, the volume of water will not increase or reduce. But if there's a little leakage somewhere, so that no matter how small it is, so that water flows away from that tube, it's just a matter of time. The tube will go down. Anytime a country patronizes products from other countries, and the income that brought the money, the job that brought the money to produce that goods is from within the country, it means we are working hard here to patronize
someone else,
to create jobs somewhere else. So what we expect is this: if the money flows around the country, the income is generated here, and it's also spent here, then the economy becomes stronger. Then the leakages are low. In economics, it doesn't make total sense for a country to totally depend on itself. If we take the analogy to the lowest, it doesn't make total sense. Yes, quite naturally, trade is good. But trade can be harmful if it is one-sided. If it is one-sided. So the idea is this: while you are trying to enforce made in Nigerian goods, you also ensure that you allow other people to bring their products in. Because why? It allows those at home to also master the quality specification. Like what some countries do. They allow products to come to their country. They look at the products they are looking at. Then the producers at home copy it or find a way to improve on the quality. when you allow a little competition, it allows even the domestic industry to expand and do very well. Okay. But when there's no competition at all, then the people become monopolists. Okay. And then they become inefficient, and then they sell products that are not good at high prices. Okay. So there must be a balance.
Let's break it down.
Yes.
How do we ensure quality control?
Yes.
Among different industries?
Yes.
And different sectors, and how do we ensure that there's quality assurance? Because the Nigerian consumer wants to be assured that what I'm buying is of good quality. Yes. Then we also find that some companies have this trick they play. Once the product gets launched into the market, it comes with a good quality.
Of course.
By the time it's able to capture consumers, then the quality begins to drop.
It goes down, yes.
So how do we do that? We have the Standard Organization of Nigeria.
Of course.
But how can they enforce this?
Yes, the truth is...
Take, for instance, rice, which the federal government has banned importation of foreign rice. Yes. Now, we saw that for the very few months, the first few months that foreign rice was banned, we started having local rice with so much stones that Nigerians began to complain.
Of course.
So how do we ensure quality control?
Yes, quality control has two parts. The first part is market. The market itself will control it. Okay. The second part is the government. Now, that's where SON comes in. The government needs to have a lot of manpower and a very solid investment base to track the volume of goods and services in a country as big as Nigeria is a mammoth task. So the SON does not have the resources or the manpower or the financial resources or the technology to track the quality of goods produced in this country. Nigeria is a $400 billion economy. To track that amount of goods, you need nothing less than $50 billion investment. We don't have that. But we can track...
So even monitoring quality is capital intensive?
Yes, it's expensive. It's expensive, and it has to be efficient. The cost of monitoring should not be more than the benefit. There's a benefit cost way of looking at it. So, but there's a way. We can target the small resources we have at big sectors. Okay. At big sectors. So, for example, there are major sectors Nigerians patronize. We'll talk about agriculture. We'll talk about mining. We'll talk about everyday products like food and other things. So we can look at the sectors, look at it at aggregate, and target the money at the principal points. Okay. Most of the Nigerian businesses are simply retailing what some core companies are making. So you go to the top and track it from there instead of trying to go on the streets. So if you're able to track the big buyers, the big sellers, the big titans, then you can ensure that they have the quality there. Then we believe reasonably that by the time it peters to the average person on the street, you have controlled at least 60% of it. Okay. The second check is the society itself. You know, that's why I say competition is good. Why would somebody put stone in his rice? If you know that you are competing with somebody, another company, that has high quality rice, and you know, that's why competition is good. If you reduce the quality of your rice, there's a natural check. The consumers will buy the rice, eat it, and see the stone. But when they are, and don't buy again.
When they are deceived through counterfeiting?
Through counterfeiting.
Yes.
You can deceive some people, like Bob Marley said, you can deceive some people some of the time, but can't deceive people all the time. Okay. So in other words, those deceive is only momentary. You can't really deceive people that long. Okay. So you can deceive them last week, and you can't continue to deceive them like that again. But one thing, the two checks must work together. The natural checks, business checks naturally, the consumers should have. That's why, apart from that, we have what we call Consumer Protection Society.
Okay, they must be up and doing.
Everybody must be working. The Ministry of the Industry must be working. The SOM must be working. The Consumer Protection Council should be working. The consumers themselves should know their rights. We have consumer rights too. Okay. Some people do not even know that they have rights to fight a company for selling defective products to them. Okay.
Now, as we wrap up quickly, let's take a look at the action of SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria, where it's arrested and is also prosecuting some businessmen who adulterated engine oil. Do you think it's a right step in the right direction?
The answer is in the question. It is.
Okay, so we'll do more of that. It will serve as a deterrent to those who are involved in counterfeiting additional products.
Yes, it should be made known to, apart from just the consumer alone. If your country has a reputation for making products that do not care about human life, how do you expect to be competitive with other countries? Okay. It's not only Nigerians. We're looking at making Nigeria a superpower, selling to other African countries. They're also watching too. You must not have a reputation of selling products that harm people.
Okay. Yes. All right, we'll leave the discussion there today. Thank you very much, Destiny, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a wrap here, but first we must know that if we have to market made in Nigeria goods, they must be of good quality, and there should be no counterfeiting at all. Don't look at the small profits you get today. You should look at the image you build over time. It will give you more profit at the end of the day. I'm Blessing AJ. Have yourself a wonderful Salah celebration. Bye.